Hello coffee lovers and welcome back. As promised on my previous video, today I will be covering the tower types on my video game, AlienVasion. For those of you who are here for the first time, this is my first video game to ever make. I am a Unity solo indie developer and I'm still a rookie, trying to create a cool game. AlienVasion is a tower defense game, alien themed, where your planet is being invaded and you try to defend it from the enemies who are yet to come. By the way, if you hear me a little bit snoozed, it's because I'm a little bit sick, but that won't stop me. In this video I will be showing how I implemented and fixed a lot of my code to look clean and accurate while being the most effective. So far I have only made a few types, regular, AoE, which is a cannon, and also a slow tower. And so let's begin. I first came up with rough ideas and thinking about how I want the complexity of the game to look like. I searched the internet and also came up with my own ideas, listed them and redesigned them in PowerPoint. I made a rough sketch and also developed some ideas that will benefit my game in the best way possible. And so, because I wanted to make a research system where you can research towers and upgrade them, sort of a tree research way, I also put the desired towers in another sketch, which just showcases the TLDR of them, so I can get an easier way of building the research and development for the player. Basically saying what roads can the players get and what do they bring to their table of choices. Of course, there will be as well other building development, just like the research building. As I kept the ideas, I started to create the methods for each and every single tower. No effects or different designs just yet, but it will come for sure. So here again is the sketch for the buildings. I purposely gave them numbers based on the order of thinking for them, and making the creating easier to follow. Covering basic tower and cannon are no big issue. Basic tower will just apply the method for applying damage. And the AoE I covered in previous videos, but just for the recap, you take all the particle system that has come out, because some of the towers shoot 2 or more particle systems, locating the position of the first interaction, and from this position creates a sphere to locate all enemies with the AoE range of the tower. Then, for every enemy that it found, just applying the damage again. For the damage over time, I've taken the total damage and did a calculation based on the duration and the tick duration to get how much damage will inflict per tick. Every tick is adjustable, as well as the general duration of the damage. Then the coroutine will start calculating the amount of ticks and dealing the calculated damage per tick until the duration is over. Tower number 4 is a mix of slow and damage over time. Easier to adjust because of the methods I previously made, I just start with the slow method and then the damage over time as mentioned. The 5th tower was more complex, since the damage is needed to be spread across the enemies within the radius. The concept is a wired sphere which deals damage to every enemy that he finds in the area, but the damage spreads among the enemies, dealing total more damage than it would do to a single enemy. So let's say it deals 100 damage to a single enemy. If he finds 2, he will deal 55 to each, just to give a reference. In this method I created a list which gets all the enemy within the range, counting them, and then calculating the damage. However, if the enemy is just a single one, he would do regular damage, but if he finds more than one, he would then deal damage divided by the amount of enemies, while adding a tiny bit more damage to make it worth the hassle. Moving on to the 6th tower. I can type which unleashes powerful shockwave that pushes back enemies. To create this, I just use the check enemy lines that I used before. And then, for each of them, disabling the is kinematic, adding force to their negative direction, and then creating a small timer to bring the kinematic back. It's good to understand that the kinematic can provide an issue when moving, so disabling it does help a lot not to get any bugs or glitches. Well, I hope I'm right on this one, but from experimenting, that works best. As I am editing this video right now, I found out that it might be better to change the direction of pushing a bit because it's, well, glitchy. So I had to adjust a few things and it works just way better now. Bear in mind that the enemies is still looking glitched because of the navigation that they have. they're practically living on the edges of the walkthrough, which neglects a lot of the movement forces that are applied on them. So think about it of being pushed towards a wall. You can't really move that much. Tower number 7 was a more advanced slow tower, which demolishes their physics and molecular structure, causing them to freeze. As you can see, I used the note to just really break down the order of the code and what actually the code will do. This gave me just an easier way to actually follow the path of what I'm trying to do, and also spot some of the things that I didn't necessarily knew that I need to write. This was another simple method to write, but might need adjustment in the future testing because of how the other speed methods work. But for now, they'll do. Just using the AoE enemy detector, saving the speed of the enemy, and after the delay, which is the duration of the freeze, returning them to the speed that was before. The vortex generator, or the 8th tower, was a true challenge. I think this is what got me stuck for a while thinking and recreating. You see, this tower is shooting a storm which on impact is instantiated. The storm will then deal damage for every enemy within the borders of the storm, pulling them towards the center of it. Be aware, it means that the enemies behind it will also get closer to the middle of the storm, therefore getting them closer to the endpoint. I will just shortcut the process because it got me so tired and exhausted of experimenting, which truly shows the hard parts of the development, which are when you are trying to create something new but really hits the wall. This is when all of the energy and high hopes are getting down, but it's also why you need to approach it with a different mindset and call me. The storm itself will inherit its stats from the Tower of Creation and have a few counters. First will be for the duration of the storm, which at the end will destroy it. Another one will be for the ticks, so every tick that will be occurred, the storm will open a sphere of enemies, deal them damage and pull them towards the middle of the storm. Sounds simple enough but rather complex in the code world, but I managed to make it work at the end, so that's cool. The 9th and 10th tower required things from the more advanced enemies, which I didn't make just yet, so they will hold on the line. 11th and 12th tower were basically going hand in hand with previous scripts and even with each other. One is a support tower and the second one is regular. Both do AoE slow, and the regular one will do damage as well. This will be for experimenting later for balance and testing to make sure there will be a good usage for all of the towers together. And that's it for this devlog. I think half of the towers are standing in a very good place at the moment. The rest will come out shortly, so no worries on that. I am happy with what I have accomplished to make in such little knowledge that I have, and I am sure I will improve even more with time. But for now, this fits my expectations. I hope you all enjoyed this devlog, and I hope to see you again on the next one. Feel free to like and comment your thoughts, ideas and so on, and even put a subscribe if you feel generous. Have a good day and thanks for watching.